Hello everybody. This is Apple Treats, episode 20.
Yes.
Wow,
Hello.
that's a number. Hello, Vladimir. We are having the episode which we wanted to have for quite a time. We want to basically review the news, actually, what's happening in Apple platforms world, and we will also announce a resource which we are working on, basically. And by the way, the resource which hosts our podcast, it's called MobilePeople.news. And we will also give all the links and everything in the show notes later on. So check those out. And let's be quick. Let's start with the news, actually. So what's happening in the world of Apple ecosystems?
Do you want me to start today? Okay.
Yep, I think, yeah.
Okay, so do you have any device with macOS 12.1 beta?
Not yet.
What are you thinking about this?
Yes, and there is one specific reason why I'm thinking about that. It's the SharePlay, and I'm actually doing a conference talk being in Russian, but still on the SharePlay, and it will happen next Thursday, where we will discuss basically how to use SharePlay in like business-oriented apps. Let's put it that way.
Okay,
so yes,
sounds interesting.
I'm waiting for that, but I also wait for one more thing, and that doesn't it's not yet available in the macOS beta version, which is universal control. I obviously have MacBook, I have iPad, and I would definitely want to use like one keyboard, one touchpad to control them both, and drag and drop something between iPad and my MacBook. But yes, that's not yet available there. So if you're a developer and would like to like basically use iPad as somewhat of a second screen, and by the way, another way why I'm using iPad at the same time I use a Mac, mostly because I work for the like big company and we use Teams. We have to admit that probably, and that's well, and the Teams runs better on iPad. It's not better. It's like it less worse.
It works.
Yeah, it works there, and like it less sluggish probably a bit, and the notifications are better, and like yeah. So I would prefer using Teams on iPad and everything else on my Mac. And if I can use one keyboard from my Mac to like basically respond in Teams on iPad, and then switch back to Xcode and work on the code in on the Mac, that would be perfect. But yes, no luck. I believe Apple says it will become available later this year. So yeah, we still have a couple of months of this year. So we'll wait.
So Apple.
Right.
Let's get back to SharePlay a little bit. So for those of our listeners who have been underground the last 6 months, let's remind them what this is.
Okay, that's a good thing. So most of us again are sitting at homes most of the time, and typically even work from home, and sometimes we even like spend weekends at home all by ourselves. So Apple provided a way to use FaceTime calls as a way of transporting data between apps. Their main uses were basically like watching a movie together. Like you can have your Apple TV connected, you can like start a movie, and you will see movie at the same like time code on all the participants on the call, and that's like tightly synchronized, and one person could put video on pause, and everything like will happen automatically for all participants of this call. But also you can use SharePlay for third-party apps, and those could not, like, you can use something else. On WWDC, they were showing up, which was like you basically have a shared whiteboard and you draw together during the FaceTime call. that's
what
actually
I want to have on my calls every time.
right, exactly. And that's basically, you can download a sample, update it a bit because it doesn't compile right now because it was targeting the beta versions, but yeah, it works. And by the way, that's also a basis for the talk I'm giving. I can probably uncover some secrets here, but we will be trying to merge SharePlay as a means of transporting data between call participants, and one old technology which you probably might heard of, which is multi-peer connectivity, which allows you to transfer data between the devices which like nearby each other. So they will be using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, and that's again covered in by the higher level framework, which is called multiple connectivity. And therefore you
I
can
remember this thing as part of Game Center, as I believe.
yeah, it's more or less there. So it's they're quite close to each other. There is another framework which is called GameKit, which allows you to make use Game Center in order to connect players into one game. But I was not using GameKit for this particular talk. But anyways, the idea was like three I don't know, developers have a conference call via FaceTime, and the teams which stand by their side will use nearby connectivity to connect to that call and also draw on that whiteboard. And like you will merge several networks, like one group on one participant, like another group and another group, and they will be all driving on the same whiteboard, and you will merge these two different transports into one. And that's actually not a hard thing to implement, but you still need to consider a couple of things which I will uncover in that talk. And probably I might need to create an English version of that talk later on and present it somewhere. Maybe, don't know.
You definitely have, because I think nowadays it's very important, even now when every team is distributed, at least in different cities. So
right.
That thing can be interesting for everyone.
There is one downside here. SharePlay is available only on Apple devices, and while you can use FaceTime on Android phones through the web, basically, but SharePlay doesn't work that way. So you will not be able to use Android phones to participate in the SharePlay call.
Buy every Android developer an iPad.
That's probably a good thing actually to do. Yeah, I would vote for that. And as far as I know, Android developers want to develop Android apps using Macs, and when the macOS 12.1 will be released, it will also have SharePlay and it will be supported. So yeah, that's probably a good way to make FaceTime and SharePlay something step into enterprise somewhat.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get to the next topic. And the next topic, and by the way, we have a couple of topics here. We might probably skip some of those. And if you're listening us live now on our stream, put your questions or comments or your news you've heard of to the chat. We will probably discuss them too. But the topic I wanted to highlight here is the distributed actors concept is now part of the Swift nightly builds. And to recap, what's the distributed actors? We recently got actors, which are part of the Swift structured concurrency, which provide a way of simplifying management for the threads for a specific class. So you encapsulate all the logic into an actor, and the system will guarantee that actor runs on a proper thread, or how will we call it? But
actually in a proper queue.
Yeah.
And that leads to
it's not even a queue. It's their new concept of cooperative concurrency. So it's
No. So I spent all last week digging into C++ code of structured concurrency. They use GCD a lot there. And actually what Actors is about, they mostly just a wrapper, a wrapper around serial queue in its default behavior.
Okay, awesome. That's actually interesting. I mean, in that case, so it will wrap the queues, but the actors aside, they introduced the distributed actors, which is basically not so much related to the structured concurrency, but rather to remote program calls, procedure calls. You can use concept of distributed actor, and you will like basically call a method on the object in your code, but inside it will make a network call to some remote system, execute method there, and provide you back with the result. And everything will be captured and hidden with the distributed actor. And though you will use them as the regular actors, basically. So that's the main probably point why they call that actors. But the idea
AWS
here,
Lambda is something that we can use here. Just a first
exactly.
thing that we.
And by the way, you can use Swift on the server on Lambda too. So Lambda support Swift. So you can basically create a code which will communicate to each other, and this might be an interesting point in making new ways of communicating with the server. So we all get used to, I don't know, URL session, LMFire, Moya, whatever. Like we have plenty of those, and you will use Codable to encode something, you will decode it, and that's something like how it was a long time ago. We also have gRPC, which is, by the way, more or less the closest concept here, but it's still a lot of stuff you need to create on top of that. You need to manage the channel, you need to set it up, you need to, like, I don't know, build a lot of stuff around. And distributed actors are hiding a lot of that. And you're basically using an object, you're calling its methods, you like use the structured concurrency there, like you're waiting for the result. Obviously, all the calls to distributed actors should be asynchronous for, like, again, for obvious reasons, but this will be like you're dealing with the normal code. And by the way, they all are throwing methods, because, well, network could go down at any time. So, but apart from that, it's like regular objects, regular methods, and you structure your code no matter runs it locally or remotely. And that's probably a really good thing in terms of making your app be more understandable for you and other developers. That's a good thing. And so, like, the news are that you can actually try that. The nightly builds support that, and you can already try building apps using distributed actors.
Actually, that's interesting. I want to see how people reverse engineer, just read source code of distributed actors and implement their own solution on other languages. So making actors executable for something else.
That would be great, actually. I mean, Swift can be deployed to many platforms, but we still have a lot of developers who prefer other languages, and I would hope that the distributed actors concept will be universal in some way. So other languages, platforms will catch up and be compatible with the concept, and therefore, like, the transports will be compatible and everything else will be compatible, and you will be able to use that as a new way of dealing with the server. So I really hope that we will change our mindset in development, and we will stop using RESTful services, but rather, like, be using more actors and everything for when it applies, basically. Yes, the services will not go away, and they still have their place in the development ecosystem, but actors are something which might be helpful. That's I hope so, at least.
What a good concept.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next topic. So do you have, okay, so we talked about macOS 12.1 beta 1, but have you installed macOS Monterey on your primary laptop?
And I know where you're coming to. My installation went fine, but I personally know guys who bricked their device.
No, that wasn't my case, but my worst case was that I wasn't able to run Xcode 12.5.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah, and that's another thing which we need to like take care of. If you upgrade it, you need to use Xcode 13, and therefore you might need to consider not upgrading to macOS Monterey yet if you depend on the previous Xcode versions.
Unfortunately.
And as regards to the bricking, so the T2 chip firmware was basically not fully updated, and therefore some Mac users got their Macs bricked. But it's not like totally unrecoverable situation. You can fix that yourself at home if you have a second MacBook. In that case, there is an extraction, and you can basically revive it, and it will run fine. If not, you can contact any Apple authorized service, and they will fix that. And
for free,
currently,
I hope.
I believe so, yes. At least it's definitely in the places where they have Apple stores, but I believe they will fix that for free in other locations too. Again, as I said, my update went fine, but Apple also fixed the distribution. So the macOS image which you will download when you try to update now doesn't have any problems with that. So any modern updates will go just fine. So like probably we can breathe out and move on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what else do you remember about issues with macOS Monterey?
Yeah, so I saw the posts that users reporting that there is a memory issue. So basically, again, I'd never seen something like that on my machine, but there were reports that like the macOS shows you're running out of memory constantly, and this alert keep showing again and again while you still have enough memory. So don't know, and it seems that the issue is not yet fixed, and it probably will be fixed with the next release. Don't know. But one more thing here, I didn't saw much of tweet posts on this, so it's probably quite a rare issue. I don't know.
At least it's very annoying, I believe. By the way, I heard some stories from people who bought new Macs with the M1 Pro and M1 Max chips, and I heard that these laptops use much more memory than plain old Intels. So that's interesting. So
yeah.
So
you
just
probably need to know.
Yeah, I need to buy it and check first before proving something.
But just in case, you probably need to buy with 64 gigs of RAM.
It's too expensive, unfortunately.
Definitely too expensive. But yeah, and speaking of the new Macs, I saw a tweet post recently that you still can basically drain the battery within like reasonable 3 hours by compiling clang or I believe it was the clang itself compilation. Like if you do that like a needed number of times, you will basically drain the battery. And I also think like something like WebKit compilation will also drain the battery too. So
Swift don't do that.
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think those are like still something which is like you shouldn't be doing without connecting to the power. Okay.
By the way, yeah. Since we talked a little bit about new Macs, what do you think about MagSafe 3 on new MacBooks?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting discussion. I actually like the idea of bringing back MagSafe. So this is, while I still like the idea of having USB-C as a power connector, and by the way, they do support charging from the USB-C from any of the ports, which is perfect from my perspective. But MagSafe is something like I liked in previous Macs. I've heard that the connector seems to be too small. I don't see a problem that in there, but it might be. And interestingly enough, we now have 2 magnetic connectors coming from Apple. One is from new MacBooks, and you should also remember the new iMacs also have a magnetic connector, like the round one. And the only thing I'm missing in new MagSafe is that it also could have Ethernet line installed there, as they do for the iMacs. So you put the brick somewhere and you connect the Ethernet there, and you have small, nice, tiny, shiny cable which brings you power and the network. That probably would be much better. But
not yet, unfortunately. But that would be nice. But it's MacBook. It should be wireless until you need to power it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I also do not have the new MacBooks, but a couple of the guys of friends bought the 14-inch model, and they're happy. Basically, they're happy with two things: the basically longevity of the battery, and like they are cool, so they don't burn your laps when you use it on your laps,
Yeah.
and that's not true for Intel Macs anymore,
My
at least.
16-inch is always hot. Now it's 76 degree. It's normal. It's normal
Yep.
temperature.
Okay, I probably skip a couple of news because we will probably need to focus on a couple of more important ones. And one of those, which is relevant to almost every mobile developer out there, App Store Connect will not be closing for the holidays starting this year,
Finally.
probably forever. Yeah, so if you're new to iOS development, there was a week in December when you could not submit any updates to App Store Connect, or like even like hot fixes, even like critical bug fixes, like never, and you had to wait, or just basically plan in advance. So starting this year, Apple decided that they will not be doing that, and they will like be open through the holidays, and you will be able to submit your updates, your new apps, anything. So that's probably like finally.
It looks like they hired some other people who don't work in the US and shouldn't have vacation during this period.
Yep, and I also I don't know, like it's a kind of mystery, like who are exactly doing that, but probably yeah, they probably distribute now the work in a way, and it seems that they are now even working on the weekends too, at least in some cases. I had the responses made on the weekends, and that probably like because of the time zone shift. Maybe like basically they started their day earlier and something like that.
Yeah, probably. Okay, what next? So again, we have some other news regarding other betas of iOS, tvOS, watchOS.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember something interesting? Let's start with
right.
iOS. So what's
Yeah.
interesting there?
So they actually did an interesting update. If you remember, in August, they announced that they will implement child safety features into operating systems. And there were two different things there. So one of those was like automatic scanning of your photo library, iCloud photo library. And that's not the case now. So that feature is yet never showed up in any beta version. But what they now
as they told, it's just here, but it's not enabled yet.
Yeah, well, until it's proven, I would consider it's not. But what they did show, and another thing they announced at that time was the communication safety, and that thing was scanning on device, like never sending anything to the backend. It was scanning for inappropriate content in messages, specifically in iMessage. And if such a content is being detected for the messages of a child, and you as a parent need to like basically enable that for the child, and in that case, that particular message will be blurred. The child will be presented with a message like saying that you probably you don't have to look at it. And another thing which was troubling a lot of people is that the parent will get notification if child decides to view the content. So in this beta version, the notification part is removed from this feature. So the child will still have the detection will happen. The child will be presented with the dialogue saying like you don't have to view it, but if you like insist, we will show it to you, and the parents will know nothing. So probably it's a good solution here. And as far as I can see on Twitter and on forums, like most critics of the child safety features are okay with this implementation. They are just basically saying that it might be like they will add it later on, but as of now, the feature seems to be okay.
As a parent, I would like to at least not know that exact moment when this happened, but at least have some statistic that this is happening.
Yeah.
And we should have some conversation with the kid.
So yeah, why they decided to remove it, and probably not why they decided, but why was the critics? So in the families where parents are adequate and like basically understanding, that will trigger a conversation. But there are families where parents are a little bit more demanding, let's put it that way, and that might cause harm on children. So basically the idea that parents will know that might trigger something to so it might impose like a danger to the child coming from the parents. So I don't have strong opinion here. I also would probably want to be notified, but I totally understand why this is not the case. And well, yes, as a parents, we will need to do more, and we will probably have to have conversation in advance. And well, we will. So yeah, basically, we will have to be parents. Yeah, we will have to do our job as a parent. We will not have to rely on something happening like from the company. So okay. Yes, let's do that. So it's
old-fashioned way.
Yes, exactly. Another feature I'm looking here. So the legacy contacts are enabled in the new beta version, which is the way of like basically thinking ahead. And that's probably not a funny topic, but we all probably need to think about what will happen when we pass away. And this is the way to basically designate people who will get access to your data when you're no longer here. And when the feature will be available, I will definitely set that up. And while it's, again, not a funny topic, not something like interesting to talk about, but this is something you need to think while you're alive. And so it's something you need to do.
And not even nowadays, when really young people get ill and anything happens, even if they are just not available right now, still, it's a bad thing. We need to worry about this in advance. Okay, what else?
Yeah.
I don't know. Here in our notes, I see a very interesting point that Mail app now provides access to iCloud Plus Hide My Email feature.
Yeah.
What this is about? I believe we have this right now, no?
Yeah, but So, but now the flow is, I would say, not that easy to do, and you have to create your temporary email in advance, like getting into the settings, finding that feature, enabling, typing, and you will get like short email.
No. So during registration, you can.
You get that for sign in with Apple.
Probably true, but I'm not sure. I believe that I saw this feature so we have this hide my email and we have it previously. So I don't know.
It was the part of the sign in with Apple. So basically, if you use sign in with Apple, you can hide your email. And now this feature is available like as a standalone feature. You can create your own custom emails and use those on the services which you don't trust. The email will go through the Apple service and will be delivered to you. And currently you can create as many as you want these custom emails, and they will be associated with your account. So what this particular update means that you will be able to easily create and use these like custom emails within the Mail app. It's not about the registration, but rather like if you want to send an email, you can just basically create some temporary email and send it. One thing is missing from me is when you register on the sites which do not support sign in with Apple and you need to put your email there. That's where I would want a button like in Safari typing like let's create an email for me just right now and associate it with this particular site.
There are a button. So you can do this right now. I believe 4 or 5 times since upgrade to iOS 15, I use this feature.
Okay.
So before I have my own custom mail domain, and previously I just put some random name there and put my email domain there. Now I more frequently use this feature from Apple. And what
Awesome.
I saw just, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago, I went to iCloud.com website, signed in there, and found in settings that you can define your own custom domain there
Right.
and use it there if you have subscription to iCloud Plus.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's something. It requires some like you definitely need to own your domain, so you will probably need to make modifications to your DNS records. But if you own a domain, that's something like you. I actually like me.com address, and I am a happy owner of me.com address, which was like I do not remember exactly when it was like free to register that particular. There are people with, I believe, mac.com address, and that also is not available for the registration, but they're still working. They still work, and I like that.
Actually,
Yeah.
as I know, any iCloud.com email can be written as me.com domain.
Is it? I mean,
I'm not sure.
I'm not
We need
sure.
to check, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
and
that. So I registered in iCloud after me.com domain. Yeah, so after it was dismissed, and so I often use my @me.com
okay,
email, and it works. Probably
it's
not right
interesting.
now for new users, but
That's
in early days
yeah.
of iCloud, that worked.
Yeah, so when I was registering for the iCloud, it was like showing like you have iCloud and the me.com addresses, and they are like in my settings they show separately. Like I have iCloud and I have me.com address, and I have also a couple of aliases there. But the thing is that you currently you are not offered the me.com at least. If I don't know if they will be forwarded if you send something to the me.com. I'm not sure. That's something to check actually. But we'll see. Again, that's an interesting thing here. I probably that's another thing is in new beta is related to Find My, which is you can now scan for unwanted AirTags around you. So if you like consider like somebody spying on you with AirTags, you can scan for that, and you will be you like if those tags will be found, you can send a signal, so they will be allowed, and you will probably look in your pockets and find anything which was not yours there. I heard that is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really good because there are too many people who, I believe, started doing this and at least thinking about this. So we should have some technological way to stop them doing this.
And just for to make things a little bit easier for those who are unfamiliar with that. So if you are carrying somebody else's AirTag and that person is not present, the AirTag will still and like after some time will announce its presence. So you will get the notification on your phone, and the AirTag will send audible signals. So it's already there, but now you can like basically scan for unwanted AirTags manually. That's additional measure which you could do.
Shouldn't they just notify you constantly, or they do this?
I believe they do. I never tried this scenario yet, but they do that. And one thing which Apple is criticized for is basically you cannot find AirTag if you're an Android user. And well, I believe they announced that there will be something like an app for Android or something. Not sure. That's something to look forward about that. But if you have an iPhone, you will be, and you need the latest releases. Basically, you will be notified.
Yeah, that's good. That at least they're more open to Android apps than 5-10 years ago. So they definitely can build this app.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, it's an opposite feature as we have with AirPods, because now I constantly receive notification that I lost my AirPods somewhere. Most of them are false positives, but once. So, and I realized how it works. So just first time in in a couple of months, I went to the office and left my AirPods Max there. Went to lunch, and then I got this notification. Where's your earphones? I started thinking, okay, they're in the office. So I understand that if iPhone see that this is some place where you often be, so they just ignore this case. But this is something new place which you haven't visited for a while. In that case, they starting to find you, and that's really cool. And it's good that they just don't check that. Oh, you're not in range of your AirPods. Notify.
There is also a thing that you can mark, like basically don't notify if I lose this thing at home, like, and you basically mark a location. So it's there in the settings. Okay, I need to get to a couple more topics, and probably with we need to cover the Apple Business Essentials program, which is now in beta, and it's basically subscriptions for the businesses. And interestingly enough, the program is not that not that bad. So what's it all about? If your company has less than 500 employees, you can subscribe to this program, and they will provide you with, first of all, lightweight mobile device management system. You don't need to buy any new solution from Jamf or any other. So you can basically, you get that from Apple as a first-party mobile device management system. Second thing, you get iCloud storage for your employees, and you also get Apple Care for the devices with up to, like, as far as I understand, like hours of the device will be fixed within hours of your reporting of problems. So that's probably the program available to the US, I believe, and maybe it will be expanded to other countries later on. But the plans, there are 3 plans, and the basic plan starts with like as less as $3 per month per user. It all depends on how many users you have and the amount of iCloud storage you want to provide. Currently, you can subscribe to the program without paying, but you will not get any Apple Care Plus benefits. So you can try the program as if it fits you, and probably if you're not a big company, you can get mobile device management, which is like getting more and more important. And you also will get an option to get custom apps distribution to your company, which means that some other vendor can create custom apps for you and distribute them to you through the App Store. But those will be not the public apps, but the apps made specifically for your company.
Wow.
So this is really an interesting program, and I believe that the developers now need to consult their clients in terms of like, if you qualify, maybe you might want to consider this, because it will simplify your device management and also simplify the app distribution for you. Because if previously you used enterprise app distribution to distribute inside your company, you can now use custom app distribution through the App Store, which is much easier. But it's not the same. You still pass the review and everything, but it's much easier and much more probably interesting for the small companies in order to maintain. You basically you have an MDM, you have apps for your employees and everything. So if you are such company, like, try applying for now. It's free while it's in beta. You can try, you can check if it solves your needs, and if you're a developer and you have clients who probably qualify, maybe you could recommend them, and that might simplify your workflows for that organization.
Interesting to look how it works from technological point of view. So how they build their MDM. So I believe that they didn't have something like this before, only this Apple Configurator app, and that's it, I believe.
So they bought a company some time ago, and that probably they integrated their solution there. They had Apple Business Manager program, which was like basically sitting on top, and it could be tied with other MDM solutions. So it did not include MDM solution. Apple Business Manager is a way of simplifying your your organization. Like it connects to your MDM solution and allows like custom app distribution and everything. And now they provide the like Apple Business Manager and integrated MDM solution for small businesses. That's interesting. I mean, this is something to consider. And again, this is the time when developers need to look into these topics, which typically are like skipped, like business, device management, something not a developer should do. Yes, that should be done by somebody else, but you might need to look into that in order to help your clients. And maybe with that, you will get more requests for custom apps for this particular client.
Not only for your clients, but for your own needs. So if you run in a small company, you would need to control your devices across your like business network, your company network, and also managing some applications that needs to be installed.
Device management is a good thing in terms of you can basically provide your employees with the needed set of apps, like, and they also provide the backups, by the way, which is a good thing, and you have a storage for that. And so again, we will put the link in the show notes in order to like for you to check that. And by the way, they have a nice video on the page like describing the program, so probably worth looking into. Okay.
Safari.
Yeah.
And 120 hertz. So what do you think?
Finally. The problem is that they released MacBooks, they released macOS, and it was like scrolling nice and smooth in all apps except Safari. Well, not all, but like in most apps except Safari. And that was like very strange for those who purchased the Macs. So yes, now we have Safari Technology Preview, which has smooth scrolling. And so if you're like basically definitely need smoother scrolling, like you can install the Technology Preview. It works okay from my point of view. I probably still would prefer to use release versions of the Safari, but that probably means that the next macOS release 12.1 will include the new Safari, and it will include the smooth scrolling for those lucky owners of the new Macs.
By the way, as I remember, you're owning iPhone 13, right?
Yes.
So what do you think about ProMotion on iPhones? Do you see it a lot?
You get used to it, and I don't say that's a game changer in order like that you have this smooth scrolling everywhere. It's not a game changer, but it makes your life a little bit nicer, and I hope that it also saves the battery in when I don't scroll much. So it more probably
because of this 10 hertz switching.
Yeah. So I hope that the other part of the ProMotion works here too, and that's and yeah, the games are actually better. So like if we look into games, and like 60 FPS is something already nice, 120 is something, a little bit nicer, probably.
This is a topic for our next show, so we should discuss some games that we are playing.
Oh yeah, that's something to discuss. And by the way, we never touched the Apple Arcade, and it's still here actually, and I'm one of the I'm using it, and we probably need to cover in some one of the next episodes what services of Apple we are actually using, like besides being a developer subscribers.
So I have 2 more weeks to try Fitness Plus. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So by the way, and for those who don't know, Russia and 14 more countries beside Russia joined the Fitness Plus family, as they told in their promotion videos, and that basically means yes, we do have now access to the exercises, and I'm like using those for a week, and I find them quite nice. And we probably have. I will probably need to take some more, and we might come back with some kind of the review of this services ecosystem a little bit later. But yes, there is one more update before we wrap up, and that update is it's definitely the most important thing here for the developers. So if you don't know, Apple hosts Apple Tech Talks 2021 right now, and these are online, and they are going from November to December. They will be having more and more sessions till I believe December 17th, and they also have office hours, which is basically a way to talk one-on-one with Apple developer on your Apple engineer on your specific topic, which could range from, I don't know, App Store submission to Swift UI usage to camera to machine learning, whatever. There are a lot of categories which you can schedule your appointment to. And I can't stress it enough more. I mean, this is definitely the proper moment when you can talk to Apple developers. Even if you don't go for the office hours, you can go for the session. And these sessions consist of two parts. When the first part is where Apple engineers describe the technology. Like, for example, today there was a topic on machine learning in cameras and like other stuff you can do on device in terms of machine learning. And then there's a part of the Q&A when you put your questions into WebEx window and they answer them one by one, obviously answering most of them, probably not all. And I got my questions answered when I was participating in the sessions, and there will be more sessions coming soon. So they publish schedules ahead of time, like every 2 weeks they publish schedule for the next 2 weeks. So please, if you are interested in getting your knowledge improved, this is probably even better than WWDC, because WWDC is 1 week, and now we have like a lot of weeks to talk with Apple developers, Apple engineers.
Developer feast.
Yes, and they have a lot of topics, a lot of sessions. Sessions are repeating. For example, there was a first session on Swift UI happening in the beginning of Tech Talks, and it was like I registered for it, and it was like a registration closed because there were too many attendees. So a lot of people were not able to participate in that session. It's being rerun again, and some sessions they will be doing repeats over and over like during these Tech Talks. So please visit, like find the sessions which inspire you, find the time which is suitable for you, and just join them.
By the way, which sessions have you visited?
Oh,
any recommendations?
So I was trying basically to, and there will be a session I will be visiting soon, which is on SharePlay topic, and that probably means that I'm really interested in that topic, like making a talk and also visiting a session later on. There are sessions on notifications and the new focus features, how they affect the notifications. There are sessions, and those are I either already watched or I will be watching. There was a session on 5G and approaches to data transfer. So that was an interesting, actually, interesting session. And there were one takeaway.
Especially living in Europe.
Oh yeah. But yes, there is one thing which there was one takeaway from that session, and I hope I'm allowed to tell you that. Don't try to reinvent something. So basically use URL session configuration properly, and don't try to guess which connection you are on, because in most of the times you could be on several connections at the same time, and the system will handle everything by itself. So that was the key takeaway from that particular session. So you, for example, you can schedule your load as requiring high bandwidth, and URL session will like postpone until you get to Wi-Fi or something like that. So basically, don't try to like scan your IP address, check against like known IP addresses of this cellular networks. You might get lost there. I mean, it's much better to allow URL session to handle this, unless.
I'll sort this to Apple.
Yes. So they said that there are cases when you might need to do that on your own, but these cases are so rare, and if you try to guess, you might be wrong, because again, they said like sometimes your connection might be switched from Wi-Fi to the 5G because it's faster. So they do that internally, and you cannot control that. So as I said, like just find the session which inspires you most. There are even sessions on the game development, on Metal, on everything. There are sessions on the Swift UI, and those are interesting actually. And by the way, there was some insight in that session, like just please do feedback requests reports or feedback assistant reports, because they actually read them. So for those who are if they see a lot of reports on the same topic, they are all merged together. You probably will not get the feedback in terms of like your report is fixed, but you will see like it's a duplicate, and number of duplicates helps them triage the issue, and it might get more priority. If you provide more info with your report, it also provides more priority. And from my personal experience, from like when it was like even if not the feedback assistant, they do read, and I was actually participating in core data with iCloud like saga of errors and everything, and it was at the times of iOS 5, I believe, or 6, something like that. And we were not able to fix an issue, by the way, and the fix was postponed until the next iOS release. But starting with next iOS release, it was started working correctly, and the synchronization worked perfectly. But there was a lot of communication through the bug reporting with the actual Apple engineer there. So do that. That's really helps. And even if you see like bad translation, that's also they fixed that too. I saw that. Wow.
By the way, if you don't want to communicate with them through Feedback Assistant, go to forums.swift.org and communicate with Swift compiler engineers or Swift standard library engineers. They're very responsive. I follow most of them on Twitter, and they're real guys with real life making tools for us.
Yeah, and if you think that if you post your bug report on Twitter, it might not get into their system automatically. Like, just like know about that. It's better to be sure. Like, they might see it on Twitter if you're like have, I don't know, millions of followers, but like it's still better to report it properly. That helps the developers, because like it will in the end, some developer will need to take that from their task management tool, start working on that, start testing the fix and everything. And if you help them, that probably will benefit everybody.
Put yourself to their place.
Yeah, exactly.
And treat them as you would like you to be treated.
Right. That's actually probably it with the news updates. And again, we are hosting MobilePeople.news website, which covers the updates on all platforms, but it also covers updates on Apple. And our website has a page there too. So our podcast, sorry. And that's like we will be publishing more updates there, and like the updates coming there like every day. And we will probably cover some of those updates here on the podcast in next episodes.
Wonderful that we finally have some source of news for us.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, that's us who are bringing news there. So it's not less amount of job, but come on, like again, like one thing I would like to highlight about that site. It's targeted for 3 categories of like readers, like developers, as we are, QA engineers, and managers, like project managers, delivery managers. And for each update, you will see a recommendation. Like if you are a developer, like do this. If you are in QA engineer, that's your recommendation. And if you are a manager, this is your recommendation. So there is an update, and you have some recommendations to follow. And you can basically filter news which are targeting developers, or you are just targeting the managers and everything. So visit our site. It really helps. We try to maintain it in a proper way. We will put the site URL in the show notes. And I see the comment in our YouTube chat. Hello from Belarus. Yes, hello Belarus too.
Hello from everywhere.
And hello all other countries who are watching us. Thank you guys. That was a long episode actually, but I hope we covered updates here. And if you still have questions, just write to us in any, like, I don't know, Telegram, Twitter, whatever, like ping us, show, and you can also share links to our podcast there. That's also, and Yes, please, please, please. If you're listening us here, it's definitely time to open your podcast app and write a review there. That's really helps. I mean, truly, that's something which will help us a lot. We don't ask for money, we don't ask for advertisers, but we ask for the reviews.
Please, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and we should wrap up, I think.
Probably.
So,
thank you very
yeah.
much. Have a good week, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Goodbye.